Do you want to see something crazy? Yeah, this weapon is actually broken. So this is Euporia, and I really think it is the best holy weapon in the game. This weapon is a twin blade and it does split physical and holy damage. Now, holy damage has always been considered pretty weak compared to lightning, fire or magic damage. But surprisingly, a lot of bosses in the DLC are actually weak to it. So because of that, I will show you exactly how this build works. I'm also using a mod so I can get the weapon early and use it from the start. The first step is actually just wielding the weapon. We still don't have dexterity or strength or faith to just equip the weapon and use it. So the best thing we can do is just get a blade weapon and kill the big dragon. Okay, so now to wield the weapon we need 16 strength, 16 dexterity and 24 faith. And for the rest you can just pop into vigor or endurance. Okay, now let's actually see what the weapon does. So for the base weapon it is actually just a normal twin blade with a slightly unique heavy attack. The base Ash of War is just spinning the weapon for a few seconds and it doesn't really do much damage. But this weapon has a unique effect. When you attack enemies with light attacks and heavy attacks, you can add a luster effect that makes the weapon glow and you do extra holy damage. And then your Ash of War turns into a projectile. With even more heavy and light attacks, you can add a second layer of luster that deals more holy damage and glows even more. And then finally, you can use the power of this weapon, because it lasts for 5 seconds. You can do so much damage with the right possible buffs. It is so OP. Also, for side note, the first luster effect deals plus 95 holy damage and the second luster effect deals plus 120 holy damage. And the first luster effect holds for around 50 seconds and the second one holds for around 2 minutes. The only thing that we can get in the early game is the talisman pouch from Margit and the Holy Scorpion charm that boosts our holy damage by 12%, but we take 10% more physical damage back. And since the weapon scales mostly with faith, I recommend just having strength and dexterity at minimal requirements, and I recommend just putting everything in faith. Now that we have access to Liurnia, we can upgrade the Euporia to level 5, get the Gojix rune for 5 points in every attribute. For the buff, we can get Howl of Shaburi, that gives us 25% more damage, but we take 30% more damage. And the Holy Shroud and Crack tier for 20% holy damage. Okay, so now that Radahn is defeated, we should progress through Millicent's and Alexander's questline. And here we can max out Euporia to level 10. The next buffs are Ritual Sword Talisman for 10% increased damage when at full HP, and Golden Vow that increases our damage by 11.5% and 7.5% to all damage negation. We're not actually going to beat any boss right now in the DLC, and instead we will just take 2 buffs that we're going to need for this build. Those are the two-handed sword talisman that increases slide attack and heavy attack damage by 15% when two-handing a weapon. And I'm using the Sword of Light because the weapon skill Light boosts all holy damage by 20% for 60 seconds. For the last of our buffs, we get the Thorny Crack tier that boosts our damage with more consecutive hits. Next we finish the Millicent's questline. So there's really no difference between Millicent's Prosthesis and Rotten Runesword Insignia, you can just pick any of those you want. But since the weapon kinda scales with dexterity, we're going to pick Millicent's Prosthesis for those 5 free dexterity points. And finally we finish our build by getting Shard of Alexander that boosts Asher War damage by 15%. And this is the final loadout that we're gonna have till the end of the game. So because of that, I will stop putting loadout panels before every boss to just not waste time, and I will put the full loadout timestamp in the description so you can just check it anytime you want. Before we start the boss rush, I just want to say thank you for watching.
You'd come to stand before the Elden Ring, to become Elden Lord. What a sad state for us. Continue to struggle. I know.
depths of your foolish... Lord of Marika, you two deserve to face the reckoning. Mikala, please. Mikala. God.
I'm sorry for speaking to you as a compatriot when you stood before the undead army. With this battle I sent you in. It was an honor to face a worthy way. Make the world a better place.
Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time.